Because I'm a big believer that no good story can start in the middle, unless you're a master of nonlinear storytelling techniques, like, say, Quentin Tarantino, I think every good story has to start at the beginning. And that's where we'll start as we start out this channel. I want to share with you our beginnings, both my husband and myself, and our beginning as a couple. I'm hoping that as we share this with you, you can know our story and that we can get to know you better. And hopefully you can join us on this incredibly exciting journey we're about to start on. And this can be something we share with you. So I hope you stay tuned. I hope you have a little bit of fun getting to know us. And hopefully it will be the beginning of us getting to know you. Okay, so Jared and I met in 2008 through a mutual friend. Our dating history was quite interesting. A few parts are ironic and just a lot of right time, right place. I'll have to get into that in another posting because it's long. But Jared proposed on January 30th of 2011. I know most women say, I remember everything. I remember the smell in the air and the wind on my cheek and all of that. I don't. I'll be real with you. I love him to death and I do remember a lot about that day. But I can tell you it was so much shock and just how dramatic it was. It was beautiful. But it really, really took me by surprise. I will say that Jer had me on a string for a better portion of a year. I'd say 6 to 9 months, in which, unbeknownst to me, he had already purchased the ring and asked my parents for permission, which was a big thing for me. And we had quite a few fights, and I probably put him through a lot of hell, thinking that maybe this wasn't going to turn out what I thought it was going to be, and maybe he wasn't on the same page as me, and maybe I was wasting my time. And the man has a huge amount of patience to put up with all of that, never say a word. So I do appreciate that, because I probably, as a woman, can recognize I am definitely someone who requires a little bit more patience than others, but it's totally worth it. Get a good package. So he had known for a while. He'd put a lot of thought into asking me, and there was a lot of planning going on that I wasn't even aware of. So how did he do it? How did he pop the question? Like I said, there was a lot of thought put into this. I remember one time, a while before he asked, Jeremy and I had talked about engagement and what I would want and what, you know, what we both thought was romantic or right, whatever. I will say that there's no one story for anyone, and I told Jeremy that there's no one way, you know, one question fits all type of thing. But I did say to him that I thought it was one of the most important questions that you could ask another human being, to share your life and share your story and share your memories, to make memories and possibly start a new family. I thought it was one of the biggest, most important questions you could ask anyone, and with any kind of important question, something that's going to change your life and affect someone else's. I did say I thought there should be a lot of thought put into it, you know, whether that thought is on the billboard of Wrigley Field or whether it's just, you know, over dinner in a special place. I thought that a lot of effort and a lot of thought should be put into that question. It shouldn't be flippant or quick or just something that you thought you had to do at the right time. So that was my one stipulation. I never thought that he would put so much effort into it. Jeremy actually is very romantic, and I'll have to share some of our experiences with you later on down the line. But he does I have a very romantic side and a very soft side, which he'll probably hate me for sharing, but he does. And I love it. I love that he has that, and I love that he shares it with me. It's very personal. So he had the ring, like I said, for about 6 or 9 months, never said anything. It had been a ring that I had admired, and I told him I admired it because it meant something to me. And I always I like things that really have a personal meaning, something that resides with you, that sticks with you, not anything normal, or it's never been me. I've never been a normal gal. So yeah, he had the ring, and he talked to a local dance team, because he knew I absolutely love dancing. It's always been one of my favorite things. It's over the past couple of years become a bigger part of my life than I ever thought it would, but I've always loved it. And he had talked to a local dance team about getting some ideas together about a dance to my favorite song at the time, Bruno Mars' Just the Way You Are, because I thought the lyrics were very touching and something very honest and something every girl, I think, kind of wants to be said to her. So I'll put a clip of the video in there. I was completely caught off guard. As you will see in the video, I'll let you watch that first, and then I can kind of explain to you what happened from there and why I have a shortage of memory when it comes to that. So I'll go ahead and let you watch and enjoy.
I think they're off now.
Okay, so now that you've had a chance to watch that video, I will try to explain to you or share my story, how that went down from my perspective, because I think it's very funny that we can experience things, and we can experience them oftentimes with another person standing right there experiencing the same event, and you both can come off with two totally different versions of what happened, because you're telling it from your perspective, and so your perspective is different from someone who could have gone through the same event with you. I've always thought that's very funny, how we write our own story even when we don't know we are. So I can tell you from that day, as I've said, I do remember some things. I don't remember all of it, because just the shock of what was happening and how dramatic the event was. Some of the things I have spaced, and it took me a while to put it together. Jared's even said that he doesn't remember all the events of the day, mostly because he was so nervous about asking me that question. So I will share with you what happened from my perspective. Jared had actually told me we were going to go to dinner, and he had asked if I would like to take a walk by the beach. And growing up in my hometown where we were, I love the water, so of course, that sounded like a great idea to me. We came around at this park in my hometown, we came around like a little pavilion, and a dance group was actually performing to then one of my favorite songs, Bruno Mars' Just the Way You Are. And so of course I wanted to stay and watch, and I asked Jer if he wouldn't mind, and he said no. So we came around the corner to watch them, and what I didn't even notice, I didn't take in at the time, was that the ground leading up to this pavilion was strewn, there was rose petals strewn all over it. So that probably speaks a little bit to my great powers of observation. We were watching this dance group, and they were girls, they were in pairs, and at one point during the song as they're dancing, one of the girls in the pair got down on one knee like they were going to ask a question. And I thought, oh, this is so cute, this is so unique, you know. And I went to turn to Jeremy to share that with him. And when I turned, all I met with was empty air. And for half a second, I can tell you, I remember being fairly nervous that he had fainted. I'm not really sure why I came to that conclusion, but I did. And it took me a good half a second later to realize that he was slightly below me and on one knee. And even then, I really didn't know what was going on. So it really takes a little bit for me to put the pieces together, as it were. And he got out the ring, and he said something, and again, like I was so like just in shock over the whole thing and what was coming together, that I'm not even sure what I heard him say. I do remember him finishing with, "Would you be my wife?" And I was so just. It had taken me a little bit to realize what was going on. I was so overwhelmed with emotion, not even just surprise and excitement and happiness, but it came in waves, just blowing my mind that someone had done so much and gone through what must have been so much planning to ask me to share their life with them. He had thought of everything. He'd thought of what I'd said, was my favorite song. He thought of something that was important to me, something that would be meaningful, and just so much. I couldn't believe that he would bring so much of that in, and he does. And like I said, I do know Jared does have a soft side. He does have a romantic side. So I should have expected something, and I guess I could have, I could have dreamed up what it would be like, but it still wouldn't have come close to what he did. It still overwhelms me every time I think about it. Every time I see the video, it still overwhelms me, and I love him so much. I can't even imagine anything better. I can't imagine a different beginning to our story. He's wonderful. He's a wonderful man. I'm a very lucky lady. So yeah, that was actually what happened. As I realized what was going on, and of course I said yes. I think immediately I was just overjoyed, and I just couldn't wait to share it. And Jared had even thought of that. Some very close friends and our family actually came up. They'd been on the other side of the park watching the entire thing. And somebody luckily had caught some of it on video while they were trying to stay far enough away that I wouldn't notice. And so my mom, my dad, my aunt, his mom and dad, friends of ours were all there to be a part of that moment, and that was even more special to me, that it was not just us, it was the sharing of our joy and the sharing of our story with those that we loved. So that is the beginning of the Noise family, at least our extension, and how we came to be. So I can't wait to share more stories with you, and I hope you enjoyed that.
It's a beautiful night. We're looking for something dumb to do.